Hello everyone, my name is Relax and Panic and this is another reaction to My Hero Academia. It is season 3 episode 5 and you know what to do as always. If you want to see the reaction, please go down into my comments. There is a link leading to the reaction itself. Replace the circumflex.parts with real dots and enjoy the reaction. Once you've done, feel free to come back here and hear out my thoughts about this episode. See you soon. For those that came back, welcome back. Now, wasn't that an episode? It was just awesome. Seriously, that was really good. I really liked it. I especially liked the fact that we got to see some alternate heroes, to call them that, and their quirks, their abilities. I really like to see the villains as well, because their quirks are great as well. So there's much new in it, and I really dig that. So let's go through it. First things first, we had the leader of the League of Villain standing back, not being in the frame. He wasn't there attacking, which is interesting. Warp Gate wasn't either. I guess I'm pretty sure they used Warp Gate to get there. I mean, it's the best way of transportation we know right now. But they're standing back because, in their opinion, it's not their time yet. So they're waiting for the right moment, and well, you might say he is learning from experiences. So what he says is, I really like this. He's going from a computer game idea, I thought it was a role-playing game, but it isn't. It is a tactical simulation. So it's not about him facing the enemies all the time. He is using his puppets. He's using the other villains to break up the kids, to break up the, as he says, the superhuman society, the superhero society. And it makes some sense, you know. Up until this moment, it was, you have the world and you have some villains and you have a lot of heroes who rescue people from everything. Truth being told, it didn't make complete sense there, because how many heroes do we have? An endless amount more, neither. But there have never been really enough villains for it. We haven't seen many villains yet. That's one thing, and the other thing is, yes, they rescue you from a fire in the wood, from a landslide, stuff like that. But in the end, there's only so much work. But okay, let's just guess there are a lot of minor villains. Can only guess so. However, by bringing in those 10, in my opinion, quite major villains, they're on the level of pro heroes, partially. You show the world that there are people that society forgot. There are people who are not working within this society. So he tries to shake the society itself a little bit. And once that happened, he will try to jump in. The first one who really shook society, no question, there was Stain. At least, that's why many of them are here. Then, well, we had the scene with Deku and Kota, which I really like. The fact that Deku is not only the hero saving him, but he gave him a clear goal, something he can do in the future, not only now, but in the future as well. He inherited the quirk of water control, a water-based quirk, from his parents. As we know, both of them had something like that. And we right now have a forest fire, which very likely one of the villains set up, or is the center of, I guess. And his water quirk might be very handy when it comes to that. So he even kind of said, you don't have to be only the one that is rescued. You can be someone who rescues as well. Which is the direction his parents chose. So, I'm not sure if he thought about giving him like a goal for the future, but he definitely did there, and I really dig that. I really like that. And then he power jumped away by saying, that's why I didn't use my leg. Seriously? You planned ahead? Wow. Not bad. Next scene. One of my favorites. So, I was right. Eraserhead, being the pro hero that he is, was not completely surprised. Although he was, there's no question, he didn't see the guy coming, but he was able to evade. He was able to jump up. And yeah, he won this fight pretty easily then because of his quirk. And if you think about it, surprising him is more neither the only way to beat him, unless you are exhausting him over time, which might be happening here. If you see that the ability of duplicate, what was his name? Twice, is to create copies of people, as it seems. He could create more neither endless copies of every of the villains. I guess he can only keep up one at a time, I guess. But it is a matter of time until Eraserhead's quirk is not working anymore. We know he gets dry eyes, and then he really gets more and more problems concentrating and keeping the quirk active. So over time you can beat Eraserhead as well. However, what I found interesting, what I have an eye on, is the fact that Eraserhead very easily went for violence. I can see his reasons. The kids are in danger, his students are in danger, so he needs information ASAP. But he did break the arm of the villain without saying anything first, just to show him that he's willing to do it. And then he threatened to break the other arm. And I think he even did it in the end. So he is someone who is not shying away from crueler stuff, from more violence. Some might argue it is necessary, but it gets the question, are you a real hero? You know, we know he's a pro hero, and that is a very open field to discuss. Just wanting to mention that as example, I think Deku wouldn't do that. He would not break someone's arm just to get informations. But then it's possibly a matter of how long you're doing this work, how much you learned, how often you realized you need to be more cruel to get something done. So it was just interesting that they brought it in and they did not shine much light on it. So he wasn't thinking to himself about it or discussing it. He was just doing it. But that shows on the other hand that he is kind of cooled off, that he is someone who has experience. I like the need to face moment. That was really awesome. That's why I commented it. I'm being someone who watches wrestling from time to time, so that was very fitting. We have a villain now twice who seems to be very agile and a little bit crazy, as most of them are, who's able to create copies who then fall into sand, slime, whatever you want to name it. So as long as he is away from the fight, as long as he is not being spotted, this one is a major enemy. It is really dangerous. Just if he can copy people completely with their quirks, their mindset and everything, you know, I guess the what he does is more neither copy someone and this someone has to be around him. But even then, you can send in villains who don't care about their lives because they're just a copy and who have the full set of powers. So let's just say, which I'm pretty sure never will happen, he would copy Stain. Just think about that. Stain jumping in, killing and possibly dying in gunfire or whatever, and then the next Stain is coming along. Or anyone else. You know, there are countless opportunities here where they can use him. I think he is right now, although his power is not a direct one, in my opinion, the most dangerous of this group if they are learning to use his quirk efficiently. So, yeah, the villains are very good. I would really call him pro villains already, because from what we have seen, they're really well in working with their quirk. They're really dangerous, especially the two that were fighting the Pussycats. You could see that they are really capable in melee fighting, which is something where I think most of the students do not excel at yet. Just thinking about, you know, there's still students, they're still teens. So while many of the villains are already grown up, young adults, something like that, and seem to be very good at melee fighting, especially those two were very, very good. What I found is interesting, and it's giving me an idea what we are going to see in the future a bit, is that they turn against each other, the villains. Because there are two villain, I wouldn't say societies, two ways the villains are working now. They are the ones who are following the League of Villains, trying to work for them and to shake up society and destroy some persons. As example was named here, Deku is on top of the kill list, and we all know why. But then there's the other side, which in this case was Spinner, who are working for Stain, or who have joined because of Stain, who favor his view of the world, that there are just so many real heroes and all the others are flukes, are having powers but are not a real hero. So what happened, and I found that very, very interesting, is that Spinner jumped in and stopped, by throwing a blade, stopped the kill attempt on Deku, because he said that is someone that Stain wants to stay alive, because that is a real hero. So interesting, because it would mean that Spinner, if he has to choose, would stand on the side of Deku to protect him against the other villains if needed, or at least against, backstabbing attempts. That might be a problem in the future for the League of Villains, which I like, because it's always cool if you have more groups at a party. In one of the next episodes, if we all survive that one here, Eraserhead will have to think about what to do about Deku, because he did use his full power and broke his arm, which, by the way, I'm kind of afraid will have long-term problems, because if you think about his hand, you can still see the damage on his hand, which he caused by on himself. This arm he used once, and he used another time, and he used it with the 1 million punch, so with this incredibly powerful, while it was already completely shattered. I'm really surprised that it did not explode at this moment, or that you could see all of his bones breaking completely. I would have really thought in the moment when he did this punch that they might have zoomed in and you could see his bones in the arm completely shattering. It would have been fitting. I don't know if he can get that arm back to normal, especially seeing that he is now still fighting. He's still running around. He's still moving. And Recovery Girl is not nearby. So it will be healed possibly, but way too late in my opinion, and I think there might be dire consequences for his fight. Don't taking it from him, he had to do it, there's no question. It was his only choice, it was the right choice, it was the hero's choice, but he will have grave consequences out of this. In a lot of ways, a bit like All Might has for one of his fight where he got this grave injury. So it's very fitting. He's closing in on All Might, but not in the way he wanted. We had this very strange looking villain with I think it was called Moonfish ability. That was creepy. The one with the blades from his mouth. I mean, it's not his choice, You are born with the quirk, so you have it. But that is a really, really creepy, incredibly creepy quirk. And he is turned upside down to use it, so he can sting the earth. Use it is a little bit like a spider on long legs, so it makes it even more creepy. Yeah, I can see there are some quirks where you it's always your choice, but there are some quirks who seem to be more destined for villains, no question there. But we have seen people in the past who had quirks which were perceived as negative, just talking about mind control, you know, and who chose a hero's path nonetheless. So that shows it needs even more power. And we finally had this guy here in the picture. So Mustard seems to be more of a youngster, a younger teen. I'm not sure if he's still a kid, but he's somewhere on the verge between kid and teen, I think. This ability is interesting and really cool. It has a lot of potential, and he already uses it very, very good. The fact that he is able to sense people moving in the gas that he emits is a huge advantage. So you normally shouldn't be able to be surprised. I really have to give it to him. This is a very powerful quirk. Sure, it is easily countered with a gas mask, as we have seen, but even then you have the benefit of perception, because the others are in a fog and they cannot see you properly. They just know where you are by the fact that it radiates around you, it moves around you. But he has full control. He can sense them in the fog by the movement, so it's like it's a part of him. That's very, very good, and he definitely had some benefits from it. They kind of made fun, well, offended him by saying that he's using a gun shows that he's weak or that he's not secure in his abilities. But then, well, if he's still like a kid, he possibly doesn't have a lot of melee abilities. I mean, how could he? He does not have the strength of a grown-up yet. The gun, the handgun, a pistol is very fitting for the character that he is designed at. Yes, he has a school uniform, but this gas mask reminds a lot of World War I, World War II soldiers who were fighting in gas, and having a pistol fitting to that, it was, you know, it's a character. It's very fine. So I was a bit surprised about the pistol, but it is fitting to him. What I was surprised about in this fight, however, is the fact that the pistol shots pushed back his enemies. I mean, if you have an iron skin, there's no question that a bullet has some kind of velocity. And if you get hit, you are getting moved. But I highly doubt you're getting moved away so much as it happened in this fight. So that's one where I'm not so sure about why that happened. It might be that he has a pistol with very large bullets, which has a lot of impact effect, more pushback effect. And by physics, if you get shot by a bullet, I guess your tissue, your human flesh, absorbs a part of the impact. So it's like maybe that's why he got pushed back further, because his tissue does not absorb at all. You know, it just hits. So it might be real. I'm not sure. I guess they overplayed it a bit, but it was fitting because in this way we had a nice fight. I totally have to give it here to my... seriously, it's like best girl in this episode so far, using her big hand ability. I had her name somewhere, but I am not sure. I'm really sorry. I should have written it down. I know. Blame it on me. I really dig her. I mean, she was always cool in the last episodes in all the seasons when she was not really the mouthpiece of Class 1B, but she was the one that was shutting up the mouthpieces very often. So I like that. I like the fact that her quirk seems not impressive on the first view compared to other quirks, you know, but she uses it very efficiently, very clever. I really dig the fact that she seems to be someone who's a brainiac. She's very intelligent, and so using her big hands, for the one hand, to punch him because he wasn't aware of that. You know, he just evaded when she jumped him, and then she increased her hand size, and he couldn't evade that because he didn't see it coming. nice one first, but using them as like a rotor, like a helicopter effect to push away the fog, the gas, that was very clever, incredibly good, and it made the fight, you know. So definitely best girl in this episode, no question there. So next episode, we have a dark shadow problem. I think that will be interesting to see. I would like if they do not really fight him. I really would like it if they could like give him back the control, because that is in the end what he has to learn. Tokoyama always had the problem that in light he was too weak and in darkness he lost control. We haven't seen this control loss yet. Now we do. Being able to control the dark shadow, although in darkness, although it tries to not be controlled, or maybe like, I don't know, find a solution, a cooperation with his dark shadow. If they could do this, it would increase the power level, the abilities of Tokoyama beyond belief. Because then you could do the thing which I think in season 1 I already mentioned. If I would be Tokoyama, I would always go for shadows. I would always try to cloud the sun. I would always try to have fights indoors, you know? Which he is evading because he can't control it. So if he would be able to, they really would have another even stronger fighter on their side. I really hope they find a solution that he can do that. Otherwise, they're in for trouble because, well, we've seen Dark Shadow being beaten when he was not at his strongest. But it is more neither that they are beating Tokoyama as well, because then he cannot do very much. He will be doing a bit of melee, but without his shadow, it is his quirk. You take away his quirk for a time. And right now they could use his quirk on their side. So that's what I'm waiting for next episode. Hopefully a good solution. A positive for us solution. We still have the fight of Bakugo and not Tokoyama. Ah man, Names and Me. Where are you? Seriously, there he is. Todoroki. Too many O's in one series. Todoroki. Where I find it interesting that once again Bakugo is going completely nuts, you know? Like, you're not allowed to fight, and he instantly blames it on Deku, which is partially right, okay? But it is for his own sake. So that will be interesting to see. And we, well, it seems as though some of the kids are not fighting because they escaped already and are with the other teacher, Vlad King. I'm not sure. We will see. Maybe there will be an attack on them as well. So that's it for this time. I hope you liked that. I did for sure. And well, as always, until the next time, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. My name is Relax and Panic. Goodbye and out.